How's it going, everybody? It's Young here, and welcome to day 46 of the Final Fantasy XV Countdown Retrospective. Before you proceed, I highly recommend you check out day 47, in which I discussed all the new information we learned from Tokyo Game Show 2008, among them being the names of characters like Noctis and Stella, the latter's home country called Tenebrae, and entities like the goddess of death, Etro. In this video, I'll be discussing information released from Famitsu's October 2008 magazine issue, through which even more information and screenshots were provided of Noctis and Stella. A couple days after TGS 2008 concluded, towards the end of the month, on October 22, 2008, the first bits of translation for Famitsu's new magazine issue made its way to the internet. On that date, user Lone Wolf took to FinalFantasyFXN.net's forums to share a brief summary of the information he learned from the article. Now, instead of relying on this post, I'm going to instead present this more detailed translation by user Noel that would come a month later on November 30th, 2008. The article begins with the title Final Fantasy Vs 13: The Meeting at the Party. The first description states the following: a corner in a party. The kingdom that the main character Noct will soon ascend is the kingdom that holds the last crystal. The picture on the right is a party to celebrate the peace that the crystal has brought to the land. After climbing the stairs to take a breather from the crowd, Noctis sees a lady admiring a painting at the top of the stairs. Then another caption states, as the girl continues to admire the painting, Noctis doesn't approach her directly for a conversation, even though he's interested in her. The article then continues with this introductory paragraph. This year's DKS3713 showed the scenes of interaction between the lead character and the female lead. TGS 2008 not only showed the continuation scenes, but also revealed their names. The lead character's name is Noctis, his nickname is Noct, and the female character's name is Stella. She is the daughter of the Florette house in Tenebrae. Noctis and Stella seem to have the ability to see the light. The article's next section is titled The Legend in Stella's Kingdom About the Goddess of Death, and the excerpt says, when Stella found out that Noctis is, like her, able to see the light, she begins to tell him the story that has been spreading in her kingdom. The story goes that while the goddess Etro was opening the door from the realm of the dead, she discovered a group of people who are able to see the light. After that, those who are able to see the light are bestowed power. It is not sure this story is known all over the world, as there is a similar tale in Noctis' kingdom. So here is further proof that in Vs 13's story, Noctis and Stella's power were related, and they came from something called the Light, having something to do with the goddess of death, Etro, opening the door from the realm of the dead and discovering certain individuals who are able to see the light, who are then bestowed with power. This is very different from 15's story, in which Noctis' power comes from the Ring of Luci, a ring passed down from generation to generation in his family line, housing the accumulation of all of his ancestors' powers. The next caption in the article states, from the phrase "since when," we could tell that Noctis only acquired this power yesterday. Is there some kind of criterion to acquire it? Then the next section is titled, Those Who Can See the Light, and the excerpt states, it is possible that from Noctis' position, he is now looking at the light. Stella also plainly told him that she too can see the light, but Noctis feels that to tell someone that I can see the light is not worth it. To be able to see the light is a very special ability, and it may be because of this that it has become a symbol of fear. Also, Noctis doesn't maintain eye contact with Stella, at times even turning around to leave and other small movements, showing signs of uneasiness. Then there's a caption that says, Noctis is actually an introvert, hence the reason why he's not used to talking to girls. Another caption below that says, this is a never-before-seen scene. It is because of the legend that Stella would mention the words nightmare. The article continues with, after saying a proposal, she gradually left. Because they are able to see the light, please refer back to page 13 for the conversation between Noctis and Stella and observe the surrounding of their conversation. The interview with Supervisor Nomura about their personalities is also worth having a look. The next portion of the article took to detailing the names Noctis and Stella, stating the following. Every title under the Fabula Nova Crystallis Final Fantasy XIII title uses a lot of Latin words. Noctis and Stella's names are also the same. Noctis Lucis Caelum in the Latin translation means light of the night sky. whereas Stella Nox Florette means Sword of the Dark Star. Also, the name of Stella's homeland, Tenebrae, also means darkness. Now, I know the text here says Noctis Lucian Calum, but that's clearly a spelling error, as scans from Famitsu's article clearly showed Lucis. So yeah, for the first time, the general public finally got to learn the full names of both of these characters along with the meaning behind those names. The next segment in the article is titled The Drifting Conversation, which states, Stella had asked Noctis, "What do you think is this light?" To which he replies, "It is just there, isn't it?" Although he wanted to call her back, because he doesn't know her name, he hesitated. Sensing this, Stella revealed her name to him. It is unsure whether this conversation made Noctis a little more relaxed, as he doesn't seem to be comfortable when Stella called him Lord Noctis and had passed off that remark. Then the article has a subtitle that says, The Dignified Lady from the House of Florette. Then the next portion of the article detailed an interview that the magazine did with Versus 13 director Tetsuya Nomura, labeled Nomura Interview, Noctis is confident and introverted, Stella is lady. The first question asked, could you describe to us Noctis and Stella's personality? Nomura answered, in this released footage, Stella is very guarded in their conversation on the words she uses, but not to the extent of being overcautious at the same time. On the contrary, Noct often wants to leave the area and tries to escape, thus demonstrating the personalities of those two people. Noct is not a cold person, but just a very shy person. The interviewer then followed up with, it is like what you said before, that this character has never been seen before? Nomura replied, yes. In this scene, he tries to cover up his shyness and tries to act cool. Noct is actually a very self-confident person, but inside he is very shy and introverted. It is hard to describe, but he is the kind that tends to give people the wrong impression. Even though he says one thing, but from his actions you can tell it is not what he thinks. We were able to bring out and present this characteristic, but this forceful behavior is often discovered by other people. The interviewer followed up with, didn't think that there is also a cute side to this, even though at first it is very hard for people to relate to him. Nomura responded with, this is also a misunderstanding. To say the least, he is too introverted. Sometimes he tries to talk a bit more to prevent Stella from sensing this flaw of his. On the other hand, Stella is focused, straightforward, and someone with a very good upbringing. However, she's not the kind that is overcautious. I suppose the personality of those two characters will gradually be revealed in the future. So lots of interesting details about each character's personality, which I think still somewhat remains in Final Fantasy XV. Noctis still acts cool while still permeating a sense of shyness, while Luna, who replaced Stella, also has this strong, direct, resolute, ladylike presence about her, so that's kinda cool. Moving on, there's another caption in the article, this one stating, in the center of the building is a cylindrical tank. Inside the tank are fishes, sharks, and so on swimming inside. To be able to use such quality presentation in the game is truly breathtaking. In the next page, a segment titled, Stella's View on Power reads as follows. Stella said it was from the light that I was given the power, and then she continues, that's why I decided to come and talk to you. Her excited manner during the conversation and her smile are indeed touching. Stella then mentions lastly her homeland and even encourages him to pay a visit with her as his guide before leaving. This page also features two captions. One says, this is where the two of them are talking about the legend from Tenebrae. She feels that the power that she was given was the courage to converse with Noct. And the other one says, her politeness in her actions doesn't make one feel irritated. Her upbringing is also very visible and is a girl who gives a very good impression on others. The last segment of the article is titled, The Light Has a Will of Its Own, and it states the following. Even though Noct is alone, all is not quiet on the floor. In a certain corner, someone spoke out, who are you? Noct is the only one who overheard someone's line, which should not be the voice of the light. The story of the goddess of death, the light, and the people who are able to see the light, the power that they are given, and the conversation that Noctis overheard. These two fated people have still much mystery around them. Much of it will be revealed in the future. The article finally concluded with a report from TGS 2008, but these are all things previous articles have talked about, which I discussed in past Countdown retrospectives, so I won't be reading this out loud. The biggest takeaway from all this was the revelation of Noctis and Stella's full names. Noctis Lucis Caelum, Light of the Night Sky, and Stella Nox Florette, Sword of the Dark Star, along with their personalities, with the former exuding confidence but being quite shy underneath it all, and the latter being strong, direct, personable, and ladylike. We also got some interesting new hints about the light from which their powers come from, and how it ties to the goddess of death, Etro, but it's all still very vague at this point in time, and a lot of this wouldn't end up panning out anyway, with Stella being cut as a character and the circumstances behind Noctis's powers being changed for Final Fantasy XV. Still, it's interesting to look back and see how much has remained the same and how much has changed. With that, I would like to end today's episode of the Final Fantasy XV Countdown Retrospective. Thank you for tuning in. Look forward to one of these every day as we count down towards the game's release, and in the meantime, let us know in the comments below any memories this blast from the past might have sparked from that time. And to be further updated on all things Final Fantasy, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!